All right, now we are ready for the next step, which is to cut our edges square on the crosscut table saw. So remember, this table saw, almost all the safety guidelines as the ripping table saw apply. However, there are a few key differences. The fence is at the front and it moves forward and backward instead of side to side. And you got to watch out for the blade as you're pulling it back. So when you make a cut on this, you want to hold your board in place, kind of clamp it down. You're going to pull back with your front hand, push forward with your back hand, and keep your board nice and tight to this fence. So now I can kind of slide the whole thing backward and forward without this moving away from the fence. As you're making your cut, you will push it slowly past the blade like this. Once you get past the blade, instead of going straight back, which is where a lot of the accidents happen, you need to slide the board left away from that blade and then pull backwards. Or you can go past, hands off, hit the stop button, and wait for the blade to stop, and then grab your board. But the last thing you want to do is to go forward with your cut and then pull it straight back while the blade is still right up against the wood. Because a lot of the times the blade can grab onto your board and it will pull up and over and pull your hand into that blade. So make sure that when you're using this saw that you are following those simple guidelines. Keep it tight against the fence, don't let it shift while you're cutting. And once you get past that blade, shift left, shift the board left, then pull back. Or just leave it up front there, wait for the blade to stop after you shut it off, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a cut here. I'm going to show you guys, with our fairly uneven edge here, I'm going to line up the blade so it's about even with the shortest piece on this. I'm going to line that up here. And then again, I'm going to throw my earplugs in. I'm going to turn it on, hold this nice and tight, and then slowly go forward through my cut and back. Okay, so I've got a firm grip. I'm sliding it forward. All the way past the blade. Now I'm shifting the board to the left, and I'm going to pull it back. Turn it off, and I'm going to wait for that blade to stop before I reach in to grab those scrap pieces. And remember to always put your scraps in one of the cardboard scrap boxes in the shop. I've got one right over here. I'm going to throw them in. Okay, now we have a nice square edge on that cutting board. Our other end is still uneven. So now you are going to measure from this side over 18 inches or whatever measurement, 18 or less that you've designed your board to be. You're going to make a mark. You'll flip it around, line it up, and then you're going to cut off the other end square on your mark. And at that point, you should have a nice looking cutting board with two square edges. Now our final steps are going to be drilling a hole in either the corner, or some people like to do it in the middle on the side of your cutting board, rounding your corners on the bandsaw, and then going to the router table to give the edges of your board a nice little round over.